Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Whatever time of day it is and whatever day it is, I want to thank you for listening to another episode of AJH Politics. I'm Eric. In this episode, we're taking a look at Topeka, Kansas City Council races here in 2025, where I asked them, why should a libertarian vote for you? I asked the candidates. Before I get into that, I do want to acknowledge that I apologize for any of the awkward pauses and the ums and the AV quality. It is what it is. I know I also did some vulgarity. I would have liked to have said that this should be fairly PG-13, but this is a video about voting, so it's generally meant for an adult audience, and most of it's pretty PG-13, but I dropped some bombs. Moving on, what can we expect? I already told you what the question was. Episode 1 is going to be the incumbent from District 1, which is Karen Hiller, and I just did the incumbents first just because I did. So episode 2 will be from District 1, William Naeger or William Neeger. The odd districts are what are up for election here, so next would be District 3, and episode 3 will be incumbent Sylvia Ortiz. Episode 4 for District 3 challenger Daisy Karimi or Karima. For District 5, Brett Daniel Kell is running unopposed. I reached out to him. He did not respond back to me. I reached out to him again. I haven't still heard anything back. I'm just not really going to chase that down. So it is what it is. Moving on, District 7. Well, Episode 5 for District 7 will be Earl McIntosh, which I want to acknowledge I am involved with his campaign. So I'll try to not be biased about this stuff, but I am involved with his campaign. He's a challenger, District 7 retired, so there's another challenger, and that is Michelle Bradbury. There's no incumbent, and so Michelle Bradbury will be Episode 6 for District 7. Episode 7, we're going back to the mayoral race, Spencer Duncan, and I should mention on the mayoral race as well as on District 1, there was a primary before that because there were multiple persons on, so many people on the candidate, they narrowed it down to just the top two. And so this is who survived that. And so that was Episode 7 for Spencer Duncan, who is also currently District 8 representative. So the mayor's resigning or retiring. So there's no incumbent, but Spencer Duncan kind of incumbent in terms of having a little asterisk next to his name, maybe. The other challenger will be Episode 8 for mayor race, Henry McClure. And then at the time when I first made this introduction, 8 of these 12 people had responded, there's 3 people running for District 9, which is where I live, which was a little annoying for me since I would like to get something from them. But I happened to actually just talk to Chris Deister, who's going to be now Episode 9. Now he is a challenger. If I hear from the other challenger, Nick Trammell, or the incumbent Michelle Hoffer, I will try to post those videos if I can. Beforehand, but I'm glad I got in contact with someone. He should be sending me an email with his answer to why should a libertarian vote for you? So without further ado, let's see what they said to that question. Now let's get started on Episode 2. So I just read this. Actually I haven't even read this. I'm going to read this for the first time right now on camera. And I'm going to give my response. This is William Naeger. He is running for District 1 for the City of Topeka City Council, District 1, here in 2025. Okay, I should preface that I must have sent him something, and then maybe he responded, but I didn't get it, and he thought he sent it, so anyway, there's a little cleanup there, and then you'll get to his answer. Why should a libertarian vote for you? He says, good afternoon. Thank you for following up. I thought I had replied to your message sent through my website, but maybe it didn't go through. I know that libertarians, like any group, don't agree all the time, but 2 things come to mind. First is the hotel. My opponent, Karen Hiller, has voted for millions to go to Hotel Topeka, but she doesn't think that the city has the money to lower property taxes, and we still have sales tax on needed items like groceries. These past few years, she even has suggested raising taxes. I think that's the wrong prioritization. The other is marijuana. I know that marijuana legalization takes action at the state house and federal level, but the city has more violent crimes that we should use limited time and resources on rather than marijuana enforcement. If you have more questions, please reach out again, and thank you for taking your time to really consider your vote. and then there his name, and you can Google that from there with City Council, Topeka, District 1, and go to any of his other social medias that he wants you to have access to. Okay. I like it. I just actually happened to read Karen, so maybe you saw this episode and now you're seeing episode 2 and it's been a week. There's a little, probably a bit of local stuff in here that you should be aware of. They talk about a hotel called Hotel Topeka. It's this hotel, it kind of adjoins the big civic center area. I forget what it was before, maybe it was a Marriott, but they basically just like sold it / closed it down, whatever. A lot of people upset about the millions of dollars the city of Topeka spent to buy that property, including libertarians. To try to be neutral, I kind of understand, especially given that it's really there for the civic center, and if we can keep a hotel connected to the civic center, like, if it generates money, it's a good investment. I'll just say that. I understand they spent money. If it generates money, or if they can sell it later, that's their promise, is that they're going to sell it and make money off of it in a few years. It definitely would have been some property that has been invested in that's probably not making as much money as you would want the local economy to be making, given, you know, that big old civic center in Topeka, Kansas. Then he talks about some other, you know, taxation stuff. Like I think I've already said in other ones, property taxes is a huge thing over here. So, and then he talks about marijuana. I'm very much pro marijuana legalization. I'm a really big fan of him actually taking that as an issue that is literally important on the local level. We're going to see kind of what happens here after this election. Kansas, if you don't know, is one of the 4 states, I believe, in the union right now that has basically complete and utter full-on all marijuana is illegal at the state level. Although I believe that the city of Wichita has kind of done that thing where, like, well, we're not going to locally enforce it. Kind of like when a state tells the federal government that even though the federal government says that marijuana is illegal, the state isn't going to enforce it. Yeah, cool. Well, anyway, he says nice things. If I can just offer some critique, it's always about saying nice things, and he says nice things, and so did Karen Hiller, talking about being a budget hawk in her thing. And then he kind of points out that she didn't do it. And by the way, I just decided that I was going to read the incumbent first and then the challenger. That's how I was going to do this. That was just kind of my coin flip. Not to bring it up too much, but he does talk about the hotel issue. And that one definitely upset a lot of people while they raised up property taxes. So he says nice things, but what do you know about him? Well, yeah, he's a challenger. So I think that's all I have to say for that. So if you live in District 1, there it is about William Naeger, and you can leave comments down below. All right. So there it is. Here's my outro. You've watched this episode. Thank you for watching it. I do want to say that as I try to critique everything, maybe a little bit positive here, maybe a little bit negative there, and try to kind of approach it from the lens of, here's an interesting question, even if you're not involved in this election. See how people respond to it, like with kind of this idea of like, what does it actually mean to be a libertarian? What does a politician that's running think of that word? And then I also kind of gave my own critiques, positive and negative. You know, write down in your comments, do you agree or disagree with how libertarian of a response the answer was? And do you agree or disagree with any of my hot takes on any of that? But other than that, thank you for watching. Bye.